This specific topic is, while digital marketing related, is more focused around Google and how to get your business showing up on a higher ranking, but a little bit different than we've talked about in the past. In the past, we've talked about how to make your website rank higher so that people can find you easier through organic search. In today's topic, I'm going to talk to you on how we added almost 1,500 telephone calls over the past year just by making a few tweaks and a few optimizations, and we didn't spend $1 on it. All it took was just a little bit of time and a little bit of know-how to make that work. This is it's a very simple lesson for you, and I believe this is something you could actually almost do alongside of while I'm giving this presentation if you wanted. I am talking about Google My Business. I don't know if you know specifically what Google My Business is, but Google My Business is a tool that enables you to manage and optimize your profile, your business's profile on Google. So to explain what Google My Business is and how it works, I want to make sure you're clear on what a business profile is. Google My Business is a free and easy to use tool for businesses and organizations to manage their online presence across Google, including search and maps. To help customers find your business and to tell them your story, you can verify your business and edit your business information. That's how Google specifically defines Google My Business. In other words, Google My Business, or GMB as you might see it referred to, is part of a local SEO strategy. I hope by now you've heard of the letters SEO. SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization, but you may have seen in the past somebody say local SEO. Local SEO is the optimization of your business or your business's profile across the web that make the searches that have intent for a specific area for your business to raise higher in those searches. So what does that look like, you might be asking? I'm sure you've seen a Google page a million times. If you look on this screen, you can see an example of a branded Google My Business page. Now when I say branded here, I mean that the search intent was specific to a certain search term that related to a business that Google thought you were searching for. So in this instance, we were searching for Hiller Plumbing. If you notice on the left side, you get your traditional Google results, but on your right side, you have what's called a knowledge panel. Now this knowledge panel, Google knows that you were searching for a very specific company, so Google pulled up this business, or in our case, it's Hiller's business, their business profile, and brought up the information that we've given Google about that business profile. You can see it includes things like your website. It includes your reviews. It includes obviously your phone number, and it includes an address. Now, when you make a non-branded search, and that's when Google believes that your search does not have a specific company in mind, but that you're looking for a specific product or service, that's when you get what's often called a map pack. That may be, if you watched last year's Ignite, I briefly went into map packs, but we're going to go into this much more detail today. The map pack is essentially Google's way of saying, we know what you're looking for, we know you're looking for it in a specific area, and we think we have some results that match what you're looking for. The map pack contains just 3 listings, sometimes 4 if there's an advertisement there, and generally shows very basic information like review count, name, location, hours, and maybe some call to action buttons. If you look on the right side of this graphic, you can see this is the desktop version of the map pack. You can see a website button here, and you can see a directions button here. If you look on the left side of this graphic, you can see a cell phone map pack. This has a little bit different options on it. Obviously, if you're on a desktop, it's harder to place calls than it would be on a phone. If you're on a phone, it's harder sometimes to view websites than it would be just a call. So Google changes that up and changes those call to action buttons as a call button. They track all of these calls that you click on to make, obviously, as well as tracking your website clicks and clicks for directions. Now, when I said specifically 1,457 more calls, I meant 1,457 more calls just from a cell phone. That doesn't include the people that may have actually went to our website and ended up calling us after that. So then there's a third part of this. So we've talked about branded search results. We've talked about non-branded search results. And then there's also the Google Maps. Hopefully you're familiar with Google Maps, but your Google My Business profile listing can also appear or will also appear in the Google Maps. There's a little bit more detail in this map listing. However, like the branded search, they're now showing the address and phone number again here instead of unlike the map pack option. So there are three main ranking factors that we're going to talk about today on how you rank higher for those searches. And specifically thinking the non-branded searches, we know that if they're making a branded search, you are more likely, they're more likely coming to your business anyways. We're really focusing on those non-branded searches here and how do we rank higher for those. The first part of ranking higher is just being relevant to the search. So obviously that means that if somebody's searching for a roofing company, then Google's going to show them a roofing company and they're not going to randomly show them a department store. Then you have distance, and that means how far away from the search, how far away is your business from the search. And this distance can be determined by either if you if you search for near me, so let's say department store near me, or if you just search for department store and Google knows you're looking for a local business, they'll show it as close to where they think you are as possible. Or let's say you're in Nashville and you're searching for a department store in Memphis, for example. It would show you, if you put department store Memphis, it would show you the Memphis listings for department stores there. So distance plays a ranking factor in this. And then finally, prominence. And we'll talk a little bit about prominence more, but prominence is where you're going to have the most ability to impact the ranking so that your business shows up higher and more naturally. So when we start talking about Google My Business ranking factors, and when we think of the relevance, relevance is defined as how well a local business profile matches what someone is searching for. So really, relevance is looking for how complete and detailed of business information you have, so that it gives Google a better understanding of your business, so that when somebody makes that search, Google can accurately match you up with a search. Let's say you're a pizza place, for example, in Sarasota, Florida, and someone is searching for pizza in Sarasota. Google is going to scan your listing and look to see how relevant your listing is for both pizza and Sarasota. Obviously, if you're a pizza place in Miami and somebody's looking for pizza in Sarasota, Google doesn't want to show a search result listing in Miami because that has no relevancy to the searcher. So then thinking through distance, Google defines that as distance considers how far each potential search result is from the location term used in a search. If a user does not specify a location in their search, Google will calculate distance based on what they do know about that location. This means that Google is going to return businesses that are closer to you than others. If you are in Dallas, for example, and search for a shoe store, but you don't specify a location, Google's going to take the information it has about you, so it knows you're looking for shoes, and it knows based on your IP address or your location services that you're in Dallas, and it's going to show you shoe stores in Dallas near you. Distance is one of those few things that we can't actually control. I can't tell Google that I'm in Nashville, but I want to work on heating and air units in Washington, D.C., for example. Being in the right city does not also mean you're automatically going to rank, though. You do have to follow these three ranking factors and optimize to these ranking factors the best that you can in order to rank higher. Prominence is defined as how well known a business is. Some places are more prominent in the offline world, and search results try to reflect this in local, in local ranking. This is the biggest one that we can control. If we do this well, then distance will have less of an impact. Prominence refers to how well a business is known to be. Prominence is also based on information that Google has about that business from across the web, links, articles, directories, Google review count, your review score, just anything any sort of ratings or rankings that it can to improve your local ranking with it for your business. Your position in the web results is also a factor. So your regular search engine optimization does play a part in this, and so following those SEO best practices do apply here. So this is kind of a silly question, but I want to go over the reasons why you should have, and hopefully everybody on this call has, and claim your Google My Business listing. First of all, the listing is free. It costs nothing. Google doesn't charge you anything. And 70% of all searches take place on Google. So, why wouldn't you have that available to you? Second of all, it gives you that free map listings that allows you to appear in those geographical or distance searches. Have you ever used the term near me, like on a search on Google? Using Google Maps is an increasingly common form of search for services in cities and towns where consumers live. Google Maps is incredibly skilled in finding business locations and displaying them prominently in those map search results. Acquire customer reviews. We put most of our review stock into Google at this point because we know that Google's one of the most used when it comes in terms of reviews. So reviews are an integral piece of this algorithm. What that means is that business profiles with more reviews, especially more positive reviews, are favored in the Google search and they're pushed up higher naturally. And then finally, Google My Business posts. You can post on there. We're going to go over that in just a minute, but there is a cadence and frequency to which we've found is the optimal number of times and what that looks like.